so good morning, everybody, and welcome to another exciting broadcast with us here at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. It's our first full week back in operation. We've got 18 programs this week alone. It has been a crazy, wild ride. Joe and I haven't slept at all. It's been a ton of fun. If you are new to us, we are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world. Now, everything we do goes to our YouTube channel, so if you want to check this out live now, obviously, or in 3 weeks, or in 3 years down the road, you can do so. It's all right there. Lots of opportunity to keep the learning and excitement going. Now, today, I'm particularly pleased to welcome back two of my very favorite people on this broadcast, people who have joined us for at least 30 programs at this point, like the two. They're like the all-time veterans of Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants at this point, and they are the amazing women behind the Hearts in the Ice expedition and storytelling campaign, what have you. Everyone should go to heartsintheice.com. You know what? Finish this broadcast, go straight there and learn about all the amazing work that Hilde and Sunniva did to bring the power, the importance of climate change to people through live storytelling in a really, really unique spot. The Hunter's Cabin Bamsebu, 140 kilometers from their closest neighbor in Svalbard in Norway, one of the most beautiful remote places on planet Earth. We've been so privileged to have them on so many times to feature their story, and today is no exception, as we're going to join them to talk a little bit about citizen science, have a great conversation, and just have a good time. Honestly, it's like the most fun I ever have having a broadcast. So without further ado, Hilde, Sunniva, welcome back. And happy International Polar Bear Day, as your little bio says, too.
You know what? It's not International Polar Bear Day. I'm sorry, that's February 27th.
Is it?
But
sorry,
every day should be Polar Bear Day.
We've got a polar bear person later today, and I'm like, there's so many days that are happening right now. Well, that's a good problem to have. You know what? We should commemorate polar bears every day. You had the chance to see so many firsthand in the cabin.
Exactly. Did we ever? And can I just quickly show, maybe this way, I am happy to share the sunrise, but you can't see it that well, sunrise in Vancouver with everybody, because Hilde and I just came back from the Arctic. And Hilde, do you want to share briefly what we did? Because that was a phenomenal 4-day expedition.
Yes, I mean, that was amazing. I mean, Jess, we just, as Sunniva said, we were just out at Bamsebu, actually. That the picture you can see behind us there, it's we brought 70 people, leaders from all over the world in science, education, businesses, industries, all about dialogue around climate change and how to move this needle forward and take words into action. So that was such a powerful platform. We took them to southern part of Spitsbergen, down to Hornsund, and we had a full day at Bamsebu. And of course, we saw polar bears and we saw whales, and we had just a blast. It was a couple of minus degrees actually during night, so we had this drizzle in the mountains. So it was absolutely beautiful, and so many great initiatives were created on board the ship. So we have great hopes for some really good outcome from that trip.
And may I add, Jesse, we had a couple of people on board that were doing citizen science, and that's the thing we're going to talk about today. But these projects are ongoing, and NASA, there were several people from NASA. There was also an astronaut. They're still trying to find correlations between soil and light and all sorts of things. So we hope at the end of this call, all of the adults and the youth on the call can be inspired to engage in projects.
I'm inspired every time I get the chance to hang out with you two. And I mean, you two, Hearts in the Ice is the perfect example. It's the epitome of storytelling as a catalyst for change. Now, for the last few years, we've had the chance again to feature this story in a wide variety of ways, but you've really brought together leaders, people, students, adults from all over the world behind this mission of yours, and it's been so beautiful to see and be a part of. So I just kudos to you on the most recent trip up there and the success of that. Also, I've got to say, it takes two people that have lived in a cabin like that to think that freezing drizzle is beautiful. Good for you. That's you know that polar's gotten into your veins and you're like, the worst weather in the world. That's lovely. Well, as you said, we are going to talk about citizen science today. Now, again, I've highlighted the Hearts in the Ice website. This is straight from the site, an amazing collaboration you did with Time. So I'm going to bring up a short little 4.5-minute video, highlight some of the work that Hilde and Sunniva have been up to, and then we are going to have a bit of a conversation around that and citizen science and more. So let me play this for everybody and buckle up. It's a lot of fun. Look at this landscape.
To live here in the Arctic, to overwinter and experience time standing still, is to lose your thinking mind to regain your senses. It is to live as one with the cold, dark, simple existence.
Welcome to Bamsebu. This is an old trapper's hut built back in 1930 for beluga hunting. And this has been our home now. We are both experienced, seasoned polar explorers and guides, and we both have decades of experience living in and working in cold climates.
We're out here on a lunch break, and it shouldn't be the way. Both of us already knew a few key researchers studying the polar regions, so we just reached out to see if we could be of help. This is Base Camp Bamsebu, and this is our citizen science lab. We're collecting data for 8 international research projects up here. The goal is to engage the public and use the data collected to increase overall knowledge on a given subject.
This is an ice core drill, and we bring this out with our Lynx snowmobile out on the ice, and we drill 2 of these holes in the ice. The centimeters that's closest to the ocean, that's most important for the scientist, because in there, small organisms and larvae are having their first stadium of life. Most of what we are collecting, you can barely see, like microscopic algae under the sea ice. Yet it is connected to a web of life that is part of such a delicate balance, like spokes in a wheel. And now they, the scientists, are understanding that there are a few spokes out of alignment and things are out of balance.
Right now, there's absolutely no ice at the end of November, and last year there was almost a full fjord of ice. And here comes the drone in for its little landing.
We have been able to walk along the open ocean, along the beaches, and pick up debris. This is a dead bird, and we often find these nets with the reindeer antlers because they itch in their antlers and they get stuck into it, and they pull this around until they can't pull anymore, or maybe it's frozen or it's stuck somewhere, and they starve to death.
Life here is challenging. The darkness, the isolation, coming back from a scooter ride to find a massive polar bear on your doorstep, a meter away from your dog. The ice conditions, being in a boat and the engine not functioning. What do? Waking up after a storm and discovering that the front door has several meters of snowdrift in front of it, and you absolutely cannot get out. We celebrate the small joys here every single day, and we make sure to acknowledge each other's efforts. Kind words and a smile go a long way in this world of isolation. It just felt like an old horse. There is absolutely no sign of a global pandemic where we are. It's surreal to think that the world is spinning off its axis just thousands of kilometers away, and we feel so extremely privileged to be exactly where we are. We care deeply about our planet, our natural spaces, our people, our animals, so we're working to protect what we love.
Our goal has always been to take people out of climate despair and into climate optimism, which is about hope and action.
Life is good here at Bamsebu. Life is as good as we make it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Climate change does not take a break, so neither are we.
What a spectacular video. I've seen so many things associated with you, and that's one of my favorite things I've ever best clips ever. That was amazing. Huh.
It's pretty profound to watch it now after several years of coming back, because the experience changed us, in deep, profound ways. I mean, we had so little during those 19 months, and yet we felt like we we had the richness of the silence and the wildlife and the experience itself.
And we had such a purpose. I mean, being citizen scientists out there, collecting data for ongoing climate change science when scientists couldn't go out in field because of COVID. So we really had a really important job to do. So it was a simple life, but filled with purpose. And it was a lot of fun. It connected us to the scientists, of course, but also all the things in the natural world that are so important for us. We really learned so much during our stay, just being scientists.
I bet. And I'm going to harp on this citizen science idea for a second, because I want to make sure for our audience that you two are not trained scientists. You're not biogeographers or biologists or anything else, but you worked with a lot of scientists collaboratively to collect the data that they needed and could use to do their work, correct?
Exactly.
That's exactly it. And, it starts with curiosity. And that's something that we all possess, but somehow as we get older, we kind of dampen that curiosity spirit in us. And so whether you care about insects or birds or wildlife or trees or soil or what's in our ocean, it starts there. And so we have been able to collaborate with researchers on expedition cruise ships, two industries that both Hilde and I have worked in. And those projects we just kind of carried forward at Bamsebu. So it was the perfect segue.
And so we highlighted a few of the things that you got the chance to do in that video, but just to flesh it out for our audience, you're collecting trash, you're collecting debris of some kind, you're doing ice samples to collect you're running send nets through the water to collect any microorganisms, you're coring ice, you're collecting trash. Are there specific reasons for each of these? Are there anything else that I'm missing that you want to highlight that you got the chance to do?
We did
go,
so
and
much
then I'll
more.
fill in. Yeah,
it was so much more fun stuff that we did. We actually did sampling of polar bear poop, which were actually quite fun because they figure out what they eat during the starvation period when it's no sea ice. And we had one winter with almost no sea ice until late in the season, much later than it's good for any polar bear. So we found a lot of kelp in their poop. We also there was one particular polar bear that we were following for Norwegian Polar Institute that they had followed for 14 years already. Wow. Her name was N26131, and we named her Violet. I mean, a number is not the proper name of a polar bear, so we named her Violet. And we could tell the scientist that she actually had a cub after he knew by the collar through around her neck that she had been in a den. So we could tell them that she actually had a cub. And then unfortunately that cub died, and would she have new cubs? And we actually made a movie together with Polar Bears International and Norwegian Polar Institute and us, Heart in the Ice, created a movie called Violet that will be released probably later this year. And we did so much fun stuff for NASA too. We took a lot of pictures. Yes, look at that. We did
Globe Observer. This is, anybody can download this on their phone, and you can study mosquito habitat, land cover, trees, and clouds. We did the clouds. And the best thing for us was that we could take the observations offline. And then when we got back home, we could upload all of that when we had proper internet. And then we recorded a rocket launch for NASA. Excellent. We also, a wildlife observation, as Hilde was saying, drone, that was for BCIT, the British Columbia Institute of Technology, to measure surface temperature changes over time. And that was a pre-programmed flight that we did in minus 24 degrees Celsius. That was something. Yeah, so we were very busy. And then Secchi disk, which was measuring the density of phytoplankton in the ocean. And then what Hilde was showing in the Time magazine video, which was the phytoplankton net that we would process and store into tiny little test tubes that Allison from Scripps called her test tube babies, phyto babies.
Is there anyone you didn't work with that you'd like to? Like, you literally listed off a litany of the world's greatest science outreach and education organizations, and you've had the chance to partner with all of them. Like, that was such a special opportunity to work with so many different people in so many different fields.
Well, I read, Jesse, that iNaturalist just got a $20 million grant. It would be really nice to work with them.
We'd like to work with them too. They're the best. And we'll get to that actually. So for our folks that don't know, iNaturalist is one of the things that when we highlight citizen science to our classrooms, iNaturalist is one of the very best tools out there. Scientists like citizen scientists like Hilde and Sunniva, like you at home, can go out and explore, identify local wildlife, share that with each other. It's a really, really great tool. We'll make sure all our audience has a link to iNaturalist when we're done, but good for them. That's very exciting. We got a question, and I mean, it's a question that you two have fielded 8,947 times, I bet, over the last year. And that is, you have all these polar bears. Are you at risk? How did you account for that? How did you protect against the danger that they pose?
Yeah, well, we had during our stay, so we were planning for a 9-month stay at Bamsebu, completely off-grid, no running water, no electricity, even not insulated hut. The hut was built for summer hunting back in 1930. So it was a very old and little and cold hut. So we were planning for 9 months. And we, due to COVID, we stayed there for 19 months. But yes, we had polar bear encounters and they were mostly very healthy. We had 100 polar bear encounters at our hut and a few of them at our doorstep and at our door. Windows, walls really surrounded us with the natural world, including the polar bears. And we've had some really good collaboration with Polar Bears International this summer on the pop-up platform in Longyearbyen, and they have all the knowledge in the world together with Norwegian Polar Institute of how the situation is with polar bears up in the Arctic. And some regions it's really declining. In our region, Barents Sea, there are not so much visible decline. It's quite stable. 2,650 polar bears is the latest number up in around Svalbard, in the area where both Sunniva and I stayed for these 19 months and where I live. But the problem is that the warmer temperature reduced the sea ice, and we're really worried now that we see that the polar bear moms struggle to bring cubs up to adult age. So it's very most likely that we will see a big decline because of cubs are not able to grow up. But for now, it's stable, and it's a very rich area up in Svalbard. So they find food, even though it's a very short period of time when we have sea ice.
It's a really interesting thing, Jesse, to be around polar bears. You know, it's not like going to Churchill where you're in a tundra buggy. When you're in Svalbard, you don't want to meet a polar bear on land, you know, but we are always walking outside with a safety belt. We have a revolver, a flare gun, and a rifle. Yep. And you're so connected to your environment that you're aware, your heightened sensitivity to both the weather, wind and cold, and also polar bears. So there wasn't a time we were outside where we weren't always thinking about them. And I kind of miss thinking about polar bears all day long.
And you should add to that, Sunniva, the 3 month during winter. How was that?
Yes. Please.
Well, when it's dark and you can't see them, all of your worst insecurities and your fears come screaming up, right? So you have to maintain a level of calmness so that you can react if you need to. But we're vigilant. When we go outside, we're doing a scan 360 around the cabin to make sure we can't see anything so that we can proceed, move forward. Anyway, good question.
Great question. And I'm glad that you mentioned too, the winter darkness, because this is something that I think a lot of our audience, Canada, US, like we're used to nights get shorter, but there you have perpetual darkness for several months. Yes.
Which is dark. Complete darkness. Yeah.
Yep.
No light except the aurora.
Oh, which, by the way, you had the chance to witness the aurora many times, I'm sure, when you were up there. Like, it's such the video gives the slightest glimpse into it. 4 minutes doesn't encapsulate 19 months, but it's such we're privileged at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. We get to have explorers on from all over the planet, and really, Svalbard is one of the most incredible places on Earth. It is such a unique and special spot. And lucky you two getting to be there as long as you were, which actually does lead to my next question, which is from a class. 19 months is a long time. Did you go in as best friends? Did you come out as best friends? How does that relationship work when there's two of you in such a remote space for so long?
Yeah, no, I think we went in there. We didn't know each other that well, but frankly, you don't know yourself either that well, because it's really an extreme environment to be in. But we had a common goal. We had a lot of respect for each other and love for each other, and we were dependent on each other to survive. So we tried to make as everything we could to have. Fun, and we felt purposeful, and we had some really great month at Bamsebu. Of course, we were angry at each other once in a while, and we had discussions, and there were tears and all that. But we've had tools to handle all that, and we're still working together. So we make this work.
Yeah, and I don't know who asked the question, but if you're even as an adult, we just have things we need to work on as people, right? All day long. And when you have a mirror that doesn't go away, which is the case, which was the case for us for 19 months, and that was Hilde was my mirror, I was her mirror. There are parts of yourself that you like and parts that you don't like, but I think because we had mutual respect and we had a purpose around what we were doing, we had those opportunities to work on them. And as much as we want to laud what we did for 19 months and the special opportunity we had to be up there for so long, really, Jesse, what this gave us was it really anchored how absolutely incredible our natural world is and how fragile it is despite its harshness, And so we're trying to share with everybody, get outside, enjoy our natural world, because without that, we're doomed. And not to, be the doomsday sayer, but we have a lot of issues on the plate, including climate despair, and everybody's feeling that. So we are trying to be in the good news department, say there are a lot of ways people can engage.
Well, on this note too, so I mean, for getting outdoors, I'm thrilled that you mentioned this. We do backyard bio every May, so we get kids outdoors all over the world to go explore the local neck of the woods, connect with each other. iNaturalist does a beautiful job of this with their City Nature Challenge every late April, early May. On the hopeful note, I think this is something that you two have done such a great job of, but I of course, we all notice this big climate anxiety. Everything's going, in hell in a handbasket. And really, in the last 60 years, we've passed Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, Endangered Species Act. We've brought things back from the brink, whether it's whales, wolves. I mean, you can name a litany of species that literally would not be on this planet today were it not for the concerted action of people like you, scientists, and governments. I mean, there is a lot of reason for concern, but there's so many people doing such great work that's my big takeaway. Like, legitimately, no facade. It's really exciting to see the number of people that are doing incredible things. And the nice thing with biodiversity especially is that it often is really local solutions. It's not something where you need to change every life habit. The whole world needs to band together instantly. Like, I mean, you can save a whole region or a species if you have concerted effort in that area. And that's a beautiful thing. And climate, I mean, when I was a boy, acid rain was the big deal, okay? Like, no one talked about climate change when I was a kid. And then in 20 years, it's become the biggest issue on planet Earth from 95% of the world's governments. That's an astonishing leap. Like, that has never happened in history where that
absolutely. And you bring up a really important point, and that is that we can't wait for governments. We can't wait for those who are delving into this, whatever special field they're focusing on in research. We need to become those researchers. We need to become those bridges. We need to be actively involved in politics. We need to educate each other. So all these programs you're talking about and these success stories, they are they are the very thing that hold us up too.
And we've seen this so many times before, right? That we have so much more power than we think we have. We matter much more than we think we do. And I mean, just us realizing that we're not just part of nature, we are nature, and sort of taking care of nature is crucial for us to survive as a species. And when talking about that, how serious it is, when we thought COVID was serious, we all acted, right? So it's all about us, all of us, understanding how important it is and act together. Because I really believe that individuals as collective collectively, individuals are the ones that are going to change this. And that means, like, for adults or for people that can vote, is to vote for politicians that really dare to do the right stuff. It's for all of us, kids and young people, and to support an energy shift and be thoughtful users. And we are able to create a more beautiful, healthier, more fun life ahead of us. But we just need to take those small steps at a time, and collectively, that's going to move the needle.
Professional detachment out the window. I have such a fun time every time I chat with you too. It's so inspiring.
You're great. Thank you.
I'm so glad you mentioned voting too, because this is something that I didn't hear from scientists for a very long time, or people that we featured on this broadcast, and now we hear it a lot. There really are, as kids, you aren't in a position necessarily to vote right now, but you can talk to your teachers, talk to your parents. And it's quite stark, the difference between factions in the world right now politically and how they view things, whether it's like literally not thinking climate change is real, which has been scientifically validated for decades, almost a century at this point in certain regards. So it's really important that you have that knowledge. Kids tend to. I mean, I think everyone assumed my generation would be the one to take the charge, and it's 16-year-olds and under that have marches of 500,000 kids for climate. I mean, kids know the facts. They're dedicated to making a difference, and they're deeply inspired by citizen science projects like yours. So thank you for all of this.
Yeah, and I really believe that citizen science is sort of the door opener to realizing what's happening, and also to engage into different topics of nature and support what the scientists are doing, because I think knowledge is kind of the key for change. So all of us, I mean, all of you guys out there, young or old, probably much younger than us, you together, we are going to lean in and get engaged with nature and taking care of it. I mean, if we get to understand how important the nature is, if we really get to love the natural world around us, I do believe that we will protect it.
I want to just share a few quick notes on the citizen science front. Debris Tracker is an incredible tool. We lost. Oh, she's back. She disappeared, but she's back. Hey, long time no see. That was the best connectivity fail we've ever had in a broadcast. You're out for a quarter second. I love it. Debris Tracker is an amazing tool for students that are really interested in plastic pollution, their role in that. We really like to feature that a lot, especially in September, where we feature a lot of marine plastics programs. iNaturalist, we mentioned a few times. And then the number one hub for citizen science in the world, they really have done a spectacular job of looping together a really wide variety of topics, is Zooniverse. So if you are kids and you want to check that out when you're done this broadcast, I can't recommend it enough. It's a lot of fun.
And SciStarter.
Oh, sorry, yes. It's so funny. I haven't used SciStarter personally, but it is a really incredible tool. I'll make sure all our classes have that as well. So thank you for the plug very much.
Yeah, and it's a little noisy here right now. Sorry. I just wanted to mention, Jesse, because in Canada, which is where I am and where you are, September is a very big month as it relates to truth and reconciliation with our Indigenous populations around Canada and around the world. And I think it's very important to respect the differences that exist between all of us that come from different backgrounds. And especially if we collaborate with Indigenous communities and science, we bridge the gap between the traditional wisdom and modern expertise, which is really important to understand from a holistic approach what's really happening in our natural world. So that's our next project in the Canadian Arctic. And I just want to say that we keep maintaining a high level of curiosity around their connection to the land. What does it mean? What does climate resilience look like with them, or from them? So I'm going to put myself on mute because the planes are ramping up here.
That's good. Very, very cool. We'll have to talk about that after. And that was our last question that we've gotten from a class. And I wanted to wrap up with that is, what is next on the horizon? So you've sort of answered that already, which is spectacular. When does that get underway? And Hilde, if you want to answer this while Sunniva has her mic muted, when do you get started?
Yeah, so we're going to go up to Cambridge Bay again this late October and speak to this elder, a very respected, a great man called George. And we will plan for the first camp he is what we are going to support him with is to transfer knowledge from himself, growing up in an igloo during winter and teepee tent during summer and have nothing from this world. He did have truly nothing. So and teaching the younger generation, that it has been his goal for so many years. So we hope to be able to support that through Hearts in the Ice for 4 camps. So he will bring in 10 students and teach them winter, spring, summer, and autumn, and how to survive, how to navigate, how to hunt, how to live immersed and in and of the nature.
Wow.
Yeah, and highlight really what does resilience, climate resilience and adaptation look like, and what sorts of education would they pass on to the youth? You know, it's something that I did not grow up with, and so we're going in as curious citizen scientists, but really truly community collectors.
This
Late March next year.
I was going to say, if you need like a person to shine shoes or carry bags or anything, I'll come. I'll sneak into the wheel well of a plane and come up with you. What a cool project and what an amazing opportunity for youth. We had the UN Peace Boat on yesterday, so it's been really exciting seeing all these amazing initiatives, bringing youth into these opportunities to shine and learn from amazing people and bring that to their own communities. What a neat project. I can't wait to have you back on to talk about it whenever it fits the bill. And in the meantime, just thank you both so much again for your time today, your passion. I really encourage everybody should head straight to heartsintheice.com to learn more about the amazing work that you've done, both in your original expedition and the subsequent time. It's been such a fun journey joining you. Is there any final message you want to share with our kids about citizen science, about your work, anything to leave them off with today?
Well, I'm gonna pop off and catch my little plane, but I would like to just say, and then Hilde, you take over. We want everyone to sign up for our newsletter, heartsintheice.com, because we are now a global movement to inspire active engagement around climate change and what the individual can do. So we're working on revamping our website and having real directed ways to support, nonprofits like Jane Goodall, Polar Bears International, both of which we're ambassadors for, and on and on. So we all need each other here. So thank you so much, Jesse.
Thank
Hilde,
you so much. Go catch your plane.
Catch your plane. Yeah, no, I mean, for all of you that's out there, it's really so much fun to be a citizen scientist. I'm sure you will find something that there are apps for everything now, basically. And just if you like to be out there in the natural world and take picture or report anything or share data with ongoing science, that's really purposeful and so much fun. And that can actually make a huge contribution to the ongoing science that all move the whole decision makers and the whole society forward. We need a science, and we need all of us to connect to the natural world and to take care of it. And I truly, as I said earlier, I truly believe that we as individuals have so much more power than we think we have, and collectively we are going to change the world.
Hard to beat a better message than that, Hilde. It's been such a pleasure as always. Thank you so much. And I hope our classes take this inspiration, all the amazing resources we've shared with them,